here. All right, you see Aliyah Boston, top of the key, right here, top of the key, right? Let's see what she doing. Hold on, we're gonna get that music out. Pardon. There we go. Aliyah Boston from 3, bang. Aliyah Boston from 3, bang. Oh yeah, she been working out. She's working.
Right there, top of the key, Aliyah Boston draining three-pointers like she's been doing it her whole career. And if you just felt your heart skip a beat watching that, you're not alone. Because what we're looking at isn't just an off-season workout video. This is the kind of development that changes an entire franchise's ceiling. The Indiana Fever just got a massive upgrade, and most people haven't even realized it yet.
To work out of the short pick and roll, if she's able to pick and pop from 3 with Caitlin Clark as the ball handler, it's unstoppable. This duo is unstoppable. If she can pick and pop and knock down 3, the same reason a lot of y'all like Dances, okay? Because, hey, she can stretch the floor. If Aliyah Boston can start consistently stretching the floor from the 3-point line, she's already a monster down low on the post. She's already a monster being the role man in P&R situation.
Let's talk about what this actually means on the court. When Caitlin Clark runs a pick and roll with Aliyah Boston, defenses have been playing it the same way all season. They blitz Clark hard, forcing the ball out of her hands because they know Boston can't punish them from the perimeter. She rolls to the basket, sure, but that's predictable. You can help off her. You can clog the paint. The math works in the defense's favor. But now, if Boston can step out and knock down that three-pointer consistently, everything changes. Suddenly, you can't send 2 defenders at Clark without leaving a $6 million center wide open for 3. The pick and pop becomes just as dangerous as the pick and roll. And here's the kicker. Boston is working on this from multiple spots. Top of the key, corners, wings. She's not just adding one weapon, she's becoming a complete floor spacer. Think about what that does for Caitlin Clark's driving lanes. Right now, when Clark attacks the basket, there's usually a big camped in the paint because they don't have to respect Boston's range. But if that defender has to step out to the 3-point line, the lane opens up completely. Clark already led the league in assists as a rookie. Imagine what those numbers look like when she's got actual space to operate.
The key, we working everywhere. She's putting in the work everywhere. This is how you earn your $6 million. You looking like $6 million right now. Look at yeah, from the corner. That means she could space the floor from the corners now. She don't have to sit in a dunker spot. She don't have to sit on the block in the lane. She could actually be a floor spacer. Yeah, Aliyah Boston putting that work.
Corner threes. That's the detail that should have every Fever fan excited, because corner threes mean Boston doesn't have to be the screener to be effective. She can space to the weak side while someone else sets the pick for Clark. That's 5-out offense. That's modern basketball. And it's something the Fever couldn't run last season because Boston had to stay near the basket. Watch how defenses are going to have to adjust. They can't leave Boston in the dunker spot anymore. They can't ignore her on the perimeter. Every possession, they're going to have to account for a legitimate 3-point threat from all 5 positions. And when you've got Caitlin Clark running the show with that kind of spacing, the offense becomes nearly impossible to stop.
I'm excited about this. Aliyah Boston is definitely putting the work in. Now, you guys know the one problem is the damn coach. But hey, maybe something good's going on. Cheryl Miller showed up yesterday. Maybe she could talk some sense into Stephanie White, okay? Cheryl Miller was in the house. Cheryl was in the house, okay? Got a picture with her and KK. Listen, man, it's always a beautiful sight when Cheryl Miller.
Now here's where this gets really interesting. The Fever are talking about having Caitlin Clark play off the ball more this season. They want her to conserve energy, let other players bring the ball up the court, get her involved in second and third actions instead of initiating everything. And honestly, that sounds great in theory. Clark herself admitted it's exhausting bringing the ball up 94 feet against pressure every single possession. But there's a problem with that plan, and it's sitting right there in the coaching chair. Stephanie White. The same coach who's now talking about having Raven Johnson bring the ball up, having Kelsey Mitchell initiate offense, getting Clark involved later in possessions. And I'm sorry, but I'm not buying it. Not yet, because here's what's going to happen. The season starts, they try this new system, and the first time things go wrong, the first time they're down 10 points in the second quarter, who's getting the ball? Caitlin Clark. And she's going to take it because that's who she is. She's the best transition player in the league. She thrives with the ball in her hands. You don't take the ball away from your best player just to save energy.
To believe it, I don't believe you. You need more people. I don't believe you, Stephanie White. Now, this is courtesy of ESPN, where it says Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark aims to stay fresh by handling the ball less, okay? Here it said Caitlin Clark had a demand as she wrapped up her media day session on Wednesday inside a Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Indiana Fever star ordered the gaggle of media to crowd together so she could take a photo of them. She said, "You guys always take photos of me, so go over there and act."
Caitlin Clark helping Raven Johnson through the hard times. Johnson said she asked Clark probably 1,000 questions yesterday at practice. That's the kind of leadership you want from your franchise player. But let's be real about what's happening here. They drafted Johnson 10th overall specifically to give Clark a break from ball handling duties. White is talking about using Johnson to bring the ball up, initiate the offense, get Clark into second or third actions. And look, I get the logic. Clark played through injuries all last season, only appeared in 13 games in 2025 because her body broke down. They need to manage her minutes better, preserve her for the playoffs. But there's a difference between managing someone's workload and fundamentally changing what makes them great. Clark isn't just good with the ball in her hands. She's historically great. She set the NCAA all-time scoring record. She led the WNBA in assists and three-pointers made as a rookie. You don't take the ball away from that player and hand it to a rookie, no matter how talented Johnson is. You find ways to get Clark rest without neutering your entire offensive system.
Career scoring record and finished number 3 in career assists. Then Clark led the WNBA in assists and three-point field goals made as a rookie. She said it's exhausting bringing the ball up 94 feet versus pressure every single time, Clark said. So we certainly need to find somebody that can handle the ball a little bit and give me a little bit of a break, okay? Here it says the Fever have options. 3-time All-Star Kelsey Mitchell, who might be the fastest guard in the league, has taken that role before. The 3-time All-Star Aliyah Boston initiated offense for the team at times in 2025 as Indiana was ravaged by injuries. The organization drafted South Carolina point guard
Cheryl Miller showed up at practice yesterday, got a picture with KK and the team, and maybe, just maybe, she can talk some sense into Stephanie White about how to actually use this roster. Because Miller understands what it means to be a generational talent in women's basketball. She knows you don't take the ball out of your superstar's hands just because it looks good on paper. Here's what the Fever should actually be doing. Use Boston's new three-point range to create more space for Clark to operate. Run more pick and pops to keep defenses honest. Let Clark play off the ball occasionally, sure, but in designed actions where she's curling off screens, catching and shooting, attacking closeouts, not standing in the corner while Raven Johnson runs the offense. And when they need a bucket, when the game is on the line, when it's playoff basketball and everything matters, you give the ball to Caitlin Clark and you let her cook. That's not revolutionary. That's basketball 101.
Standing over there on the side while Raven Johnson is running the show and Kelsey Mitchell is like, bro, I don't got time for that. We don't got time for that, bro. This sound good now, but when the bullets start flying, it's time for Caitlin Clark to get that ball in her hands and do what she do. Raven Johnson was quoted as saying, Caitlin Clark was helping me through all of the hard times. Johnson said, I asked her probably like 1,000 questions yesterday. Clark isn't trying to give up all control, but she is taking fewer reps early in training camp drills against her natural instinct, learning how to be effective without the ball and seeing how the offense runs when she gets the ball after initial movements is new for Clark, but it won't be a complete change. I'm the best transition player in the league. Clark said, that's where I thrive. Everyone knows that's my game. So getting the ball off a rebound in transition, that's probably when I'm going to be primary ball handler more than anything. So I think there's a lot of different things that can give us a lot of different looks and just make us harder to guard. All right. So She sounds like she's open to this idea for now. I don't think it's going to last long. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This Keep the Vision. Make sure you like.
So let's bring this all together. Aliyah Boston adding a three-point shot is legitimately game-changing for the Indiana Fever. It solves their biggest offensive problem, which was spacing. It gives Caitlin Clark the room she needs to be the best version of herself. It makes their pick-and-roll game unstoppable because now defenses have to respect both the roll and the pop. And it turns Boston from a very good player into a potential all-star. But here's the thing about potential. It only matters if your coaching staff knows how to use it. And that's where my skepticism kicks in with Stephanie White. Because we've heard all this before. We've heard about new systems, about managing star players better, about getting everyone involved. And then the season starts and it's the same old problems. White is talking about taking the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands. She's talking about second and third actions, about having Johnson and Mitchell initiate offense, about preserving Clark's energy. And all of that sounds reasonable until you remember that Clark is the engine that makes this entire team run. She's not just another player you rotate in and out. She's the reason people watch. She's the reason the Fever went from irrelevant to must-see television. You know what actually preserves Clark's energy? Having Aliyah Boston space the floor so Clark doesn't have to fight through 3 defenders every time she attacks the basket? Having shooters in the corners so Clark can make the easy pass instead of forcing contested shots? Running an actual offensive system that creates advantages instead of relying on individual talent to bail you out. That's coaching. That's what White should be focused on. Not taking the ball away from the best player in the league, but building an offense that maximizes what she does best while minimizing the wear and tear on her body. And here's what really worries me. Clark said it herself. She's the best transition player in the league. That's where she thrives. Getting the ball off a rebound and pushing it up the court before the defense is set. Creating chaos in the open floor. Making passes that nobody else can make. You take that away from her, you make her stand around waiting for second and third actions, and you're wasting the most dynamic talent this league has seen in years. So yeah, I'm excited about Aliyah Boston's three-point shot. I think it's a massive development that could take the Fever to the next level, but I'm also skeptical that this coaching staff knows how to properly utilize it. Because if they're too busy trying to reduce Clark's usage rate, they might miss the forest for the trees. The goal isn't to have Caitlin Clark handle the ball less. The goal is to have Caitlin Clark be more efficient with the ball in her hands. And Boston's shooting gives you the tool to do exactly that. More space, better angles, easier reads. That's how you preserve your star while still letting her dominate. White said they need to find ways to restaurant the floor. She's talking about having someone else bring the ball up and getting Clark into action later. But that's backwards thinking. You don't reduce your best player's touches. You make those touches more valuable by surrounding her with weapons that defenses have to respect. Aliyah Boston shooting threes from the top of the key, from the corners, from the wings. That's a weapon. That's something defenses have to game plan for. That's the kind of development that changes how teams defend the Fever entirely, but only if the coaching staff is smart enough to build an offense around it. So here's my prediction. Boston's three-point shooting is going to be incredible. She's putting in the work, the form looks good, and she's got the touch to make it consistent. But the Fever are still going to struggle because Stephanie White is going to overthink this. She's going to try to get cute with rotations, with who brings the ball up, with taking it out of Clark's hands, and it's going to cost them games. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because this team has the talent to compete for a championship. Clark and Boston are the best duo in the league when they're clicking. Add in Kelsey Mitchell's speed and scoring, bring in Raven Johnson's defense and playmaking, and you've got a legitimate contender. But talent only takes you so far. You need coaching that understands how to maximize that talent. And right now, I'm not convinced White is that coach. Prove me wrong, Stephanie. Show me you can build an offense that uses Boston's shooting to create space for Clark without taking the ball out of her hands. Show me you understand that your job isn't to reduce Clark's workload, it's to make her workload more efficient. Show me you can win games without overthinking every possession. Because if you can do that, if you can just get out of the way and let these players be great, the Fever are going to be scary. Aliyah Boston knocking down threes while Caitlin Clark runs the offense is a nightmare matchup for every team in this league. Don't waste it. What do you think? Is Boston's three-point shot enough to take the Fever to the next level, or does the coaching hold them back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're as excited about this development as I am, hit that like button and subscribe because we're going to be covering this team all season long. Let's see if they can finally put it all together.